Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into some powerful stories from the Bible that show the consequences of mocking God or his messengers. Throughout history, both in biblical times and in our modern world, there have been those who scoff at the idea of a divine power, who ridicule faith, and who challenge the very notion of a higher authority. But within the pages of the Bible, we find tales that speak of a different kind of reality, a reality where such defiance is met with consequences. Stories that serve as stark reminders of the power and majesty of God, and the importance of approaching him with reverence and respect. These aren't just ancient tales, but echoes of a timeless truth, a truth that resonates even in our modern world. Over the next few minutes, we will journey through these narratives, exploring the motivations of those who dared to mock, the gravity of their actions, and the profound lessons we can glean from their experiences. Picture this: the Valley of Elah, a natural amphitheater echoing with the taunts of a giant. This is where we meet Goliath, the champion of the Philistines, a towering figure clad in bronze, his every step a tremor on the earth. Day after day, he hurled his challenge at the Israelites, his voice booming across the valley, mocking their God, their faith, their very existence. The Israelites trembled, paralyzed by fear. Who among them could stand against this behemoth, this embodiment of defiance? Enter David, a young shepherd, armed not with a sword or spear, but with a sling and 5 smooth stones. David's courage wasn't rooted in his own strength, but in the unwavering belief in the God Goliath so readily dismissed. Goliath, blinded by arrogance, saw only a boy, an insignificant speck compared to his might. He laughed, he mocked, he belittled, failing to see the power that stood behind the young shepherd. But as David launched his stone, it found its mark, a testament to the precision of faith. Goliath, the mighty, the invincible, fell with a crash that reverberated throughout the valley. The Philistines, witnessing the downfall of their champion, scattered in fear. David's victory over Goliath wasn't just a military triumph, it was a resounding declaration: God is not mocked. It was a lesson etched into the annals of history, a stark reminder that pride often precedes a fall, and that true strength lies not in physical prowess, but in unwavering faith. Our next story takes us on the road to Bethel, where we meet the prophet Elisha, a man chosen by God, walking the path of righteousness. As Elisha journeyed, a group of youths emerged, their young hearts already tainted by disrespect and mockery. Perhaps they saw an easy target in the aging prophet, a figure to ridicule for their own amusement. Their laughter echoed with cruelty as they hurled insults at Elisha, their words laced with venom, aimed not just at the man, but at the God he served. They called him Baldhead, a seemingly innocuous taunt, but one that carried the weight of disrespect toward his prophetic calling. Elisha, attuned to the voice of God, recognized the gravity of their actions. These weren't just childish taunts, they were acts of blasphemy, a direct affront to the divine authority vested in him. He turned and, in the name of the Lord, cursed them. The consequences were swift and brutal. From the nearby woods, 2 bears emerged, their roars echoing the fury of the heavens. The youths, once so emboldened by their mockery, now scattered in terror, but their escape was futile. 42 of them were mauled, their laughter silenced by the weight of their transgression. The tragic fate of these youths serves as a stark reminder of the sanctity of God's messengers. To mock them is to mock God himself, a line that carries grave consequences. Their story echoes through time, urging us to approach matters of faith with respect, and to remember that even seemingly harmless mockery can have dire repercussions. Let us now journey to the opulent halls of ancient Babylon, where King Belshazzar held court. Imagine a scene of revelry, a grand feast where wine flowed freely and music filled the air. Belshazzar, blinded by pride and fueled by arrogance, made a fateful decision, one that would seal his fate. He ordered the sacred vessels, plundered from the temple in Jerusalem, to be brought to his feast. These weren't just golden goblets, they were symbols of God's covenant with his people, vessels meant for worship, not for drunken revelry. As Belshazzar and his court drank from these sacred vessels, praising their false gods, a chill settled over the room. On the wall opposite the lampstand, a spectral hand appeared, its ethereal fingers moving with purpose. Silence descended upon the boisterous hall as all eyes were drawn to the chilling spectacle. The hand, guided by an unseen force, etched a message onto the wall, a message written in a language unknown to the revelers. Panic spread through the court, whispers of fear replacing the sounds of merriment. Belshazzar, his face pale with terror, called for his wise men and astrologers, desperate for an interpretation of this ominous sign. But none could decipher the cryptic writing. It was Daniel, a man of God, who finally unveiled the chilling truth. The words on the wall spelled out Belshazzar's doom, a divine judgment upon his arrogance and blasphemy. That very night, as foretold, Belshazzar was slain, his kingdom crumbling before him. Belshazzar's feast serves as a stark reminder that God's judgment often comes unexpectedly. It underscores the ephemeral nature of earthly power, and the folly of those who elevate themselves above the divine. The handwriting on the wall stands as a timeless symbol, a chilling reminder that no act of defiance against God goes unnoticed or unpunished. Our journey through divine retribution takes us now to the coast of Judea, where Herod Agrippa I, the grandson of Herod the Great, ruled with an iron fist. Herod, consumed by his own ego, craved the adoration of men, reveling in their praise and adulation. One fateful day, dressed in a magnificent silver robe, he stood before a gathering of dignitaries, basking in their applause. His heart swelled with pride as their cheers washed over him, their words feeding his insatiable ego. But amidst the adulation, Herod failed to acknowledge the true source of his power, the one to whom all glory is due, God. The consequences of his omission were swift and severe. An angel of the Lord, a messenger of divine judgment, struck him down. The once proud king, his body racked with pain and consumed by a loathsome disease, was eaten by worms, his earthly reign brought to an agonizing end. Herod's demise serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of pride and the importance of humility before God. His story reminds us that true power and lasting glory belong to God alone, and those who seek to usurp his rightful place will ultimately face his judgment. Let us now travel back to the sands of ancient Egypt, where we encounter the Pharaoh, a ruler who considered himself a god among men. Here, the Israelites, God's chosen people, toiled under the yoke of Egyptian oppression, their cries for freedom echoing unanswered. Moses, guided by God, appeared before Pharaoh, demanding the release of his people. But Pharaoh, drunk on his own power, refused to acknowledge the God of Israel. He scoffed at Moses' pleas, his heart hardened against the plight of the Israelites. With each refusal, a plague descended upon Egypt, each one a devastating testament to God's power and Pharaoh's folly. The Nile, the lifeblood of Egypt, turned to blood. Hordes of frogs, lice, and flies infested the land. Pestilence ravaged their livestock. Boils erupted on the skin of the Egyptians. Hailstorms ravaged their crops. Locusts devoured what little remained. Darkness enveloped the land, a palpable symbol of the spiritual darkness that had gripped Pharaoh's heart. Still, Pharaoh remained defiant, his pride blinding him to the suffering of his people and the might of the God he opposed. Finally, the 10th and most devastating plague arrived, the death of the firstborn. A night of unimaginable sorrow descended upon Egypt as the cries of mourning echoed through the land. Even Pharaoh's own son, the heir to his throne, was not spared. Only then, faced with the overwhelming evidence of God's power and the devastating consequences of his own pride, did Pharaoh relent. The plagues of Egypt serve as a stark reminder that God's patience is not infinite. They teach us that defiance against his will carries a heavy price and that humility and obedience are far wiser courses than pride and stubbornness. These stories, drawn from the pages of the Bible, offer a glimpse into the consequences of mocking God and his messengers. They remind us that true strength lies not in defiance, but in surrender to a power greater than ourselves. The characters we've encountered, from arrogant kings to mocking youths, teach us that pride often precedes a fall and that humility before God is the only sure foundation for a meaningful life. Their stories, though ancient, carry timeless lessons, urging us to approach matters of faith with reverence and respect. Let us strive to live lives marked by humility, recognizing that we are not the masters of our own destiny. May we always remember the words of Proverbs, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding." These stories remind us of the importance of reverence and humility before the Lord. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content.